I have 3 sponsor messages before we get into today's show. First, if you have a great domain name and nothing to show when people visit, you're missing out on potential advertising revenue, leads, and partnership opportunities. NicheWebsites.com can build you a site quickly with a price option to suit any need. But as their tagline says, they don't just build websites, they build businesses. NicheWebsites.com. Second, if you're buying or selling a domain name or portfolio and you want an estimate of its value, Estabot.com is the place to go. Just like you'd visit Zillow.com to get an estimate of a house value, Estabot.com provides key information about the most important statistics so you can make an informed decision based on data. Finally, whether you're buying, selling, brokering, or financing a domain name, you need an escrow company that's properly licensed, bonded, insured, and audited. That company is escrow.com, and they've been doing it since 1999. Escrow.com. It's about trust. Hey everyone, my name is Michael Seiger. I'm the publisher of DomainSherpa.com, and this is the DomainSherpa Discussion. Do you want to know what's going on in the industry this week from an insider's perspective? This is the show to watch because we're joined by 4 industry veterans that do this full time. They know everyone in the industry, and they've got their fingers on the pulse of what's going on. We're joined from left to right by Adam Dicker, CEO of dnforum.com and nichewebsites.com, the company that will help you build, rank, and update your website. Michael Berkens, publisher of thedomains.com, co-founder of the Right of the Dot consultancy, and founder of the domain marketplace mostwanteddomains.com. Paige Howe, founder and president of the domain marketplaces joedomains.com and domainoutlet.com, where you'll always find a deal. And Rick Schwartz, the domain king, publisher of ricksblog.com and co-founder of the Traffic Domain Industry Conference taking place this fall in beautiful Florida. Gentlemen, welcome to this week's show.
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you.
All right, Adam, I still sound a little hoarse. I'm hoping by next week I'm going to be fully recovered. Here it goes. Get ready for it.
You? There we go.
A little slow on the draw, Adam. I tell you,
I wasn't expecting it. He caught me off guard.
I mean, set you up perfectly, gave you the cue, and
I know.
Shit, yeah, I forgot.
You got to be ready. I like to mix it up.
Maybe I was just upset that Rick got a better intro than the rest of us. I don't know.
Is I'm a little horse available? I'm a little horse.
dot horse.
Dot horse or .com?
I could have sworn you bought buy a dot horse. I swear. I still have to go back and look that up.
I'm a little
All right,
horse.
first up on the Domain Sherpa discussion, we're going to go straight.
Hold on a second. I got one more pun.
All right, one more pun.
I've been through the saddle with a dot horse with no name. It felt good to get out of the rain. Okay, there we go. There's my dot.
Wasn't it the desert, not the saddle?
Been
Oh, yeah.
through the
Yeah, the
desert.
desert. There we go.
There you go.
All right, since we're talking new TLDs, or as the regular people, most of the people in the world like to call them, the alternate domain name extensions that are like .com, .net, and .org. Last week and this week launched .bar, .rest, .gripe, .exchange, .capital, .moda, .engineering, and according to... I didn't see it on ntldstats.org, but on domainnamewire.com, Andrew said that .wien just launched, which is the German word for Vienna, .wien, and they have 4,200 domain names in their zone file. So I tried to get a few .capital domain names because, you know, I'm a little slow. Like, I still need to hang out with you guys more. I didn't realize, like, Bitcoin Exchange would be a good one. And after reading Mike's blog today on the domains, I realized all the ones I should have bought. But I tried to get a bunch of .capital ones because I used to work for GE Capital, so I figure I should be able to identify some good ones. The only one that was available for me was Raising.Capital, and it was $279 up front and per year, so I passed on that. Mike Berkens. Let's start with you. What new GTLDs did you buy?
You know, I was actually not buying, really wasn't going to buy much of anything today, to be honest. Once I started working on the exchange story and saw the activity in the cryptocurrencies and the money that people were spending not only for premium domains but also for the early access, getting them, in day 1 and day 2. I decided just before I published the story to go and check out the top 50, and then there were about 15 or 20, 17 or 18 that were still available. So, I know one of the guys who went ahead and spent big money to register some of the names. I respect him, and he's a domainer, and he's also very heavily into this whole cryptocurrency thing. So I spent about maybe $250, and I registered some of the names that are top 20. I think I got a couple in the top 20 and quite a few in the top 50.
Now, when you say top 20 and top 50, what are you referring to, Mike?
Just there's like 100. There's probably more than 100 of these cryptocurrencies that are traded, and you can find a list of them, and you can, they're ranked by market cap. Sure. And so actually, I also found out. I know I've talked about before on your show that Pinkcoin, when I got Pinkcoin.com, it would be sort of a cool sort of name for a currency, and I found out that there actually is a Pinkcoin. Wow. I think it's in the top 50. So I got Pinkcoin exchange, .exchange as well. So I got I wound up with maybe 20 of those things.
Did you get any of the big ones like
there was
Bitcoin
some really good
or?
Names taken. No, I didn't get any of the big ones at all. No, I didn't. The only exchange name I got in the EAP was jewelry.exchange. To sort of follow on some of the diamond domains I have, and Diamond Exchange wasn't available. It's on collision list or reserve. So other than that, very likely, I actually had about 75 .bar domains registered through LandRush, but along the way, the last few weeks, they got pulled, I guess, all of them into reserved. Bummer. So they all went bye-bye one day, and so I wound up really with very little, very few.
So before we go to the other guys, let me ask you, what did you see in the .bar that appealed to you that you'd want to register, pre-register 75 of them?
Yeah, not really in a traditional bar sense. There were a few, obviously like Martini Bar and Wine Bar, and some of the adult stuff like Nude Bar and Strip Bar, and but there was other things like Gold Bar and Silver Bar, Tool Bar. I don't know. I wrote a post yesterday about them. I listed some of the ones that I had ordered that had went bye-bye and are on the reserve list now. So I think it's bigger than bar, just like club is bigger than what you initially think when you hear .club.
Right,
it's
like
not
a
just
club.
Dancing clubs. Yeah, it's not like club.
All right, Adam, let's go to you. Did you register any of the new GTLDs this week?
No, I can't say I did, but I do like the bar as well. I think it's kind of like .club, or if you can hook it up with the right industry people, the amount of bars that are out there are unlimited, and it's definitely a brand for those types of businesses. And it's a short 3-letter one, so I do like that one.
Yeah. Paige, what about you? Did you grab any that are going up on the domain outlet soon?
Nope.
Nothing.
I guess I got. I'm seeing them hold back so many. They're only marketing to domainers, which is kind of like, I don't want to be at any club that only needs me. You know what I mean? And I feel like they're still pushing everything forward to, well, we're going to hold everything back because we don't have a lot of end users buying our stuff. But sometime in the future, end users are really going to come and buy all these, and that's when we want to sell them for the most amount of money. So it's kind of become like 2011 all over again. Just wait until 2 years from now when the new GLTs change the internet. So I guess I'm coming off a little bit from we've experienced the biggest change in the history of the internet. And then the fact that a lot of them are held back, a lot of them are premium. There was nothing else there that made me want to buy anything.
Yeah. Now, Rick, you've stated in the past you love the TLDs that are polarizing, that give people, an outlet to complain about something or to voice their opinion. So I would have thought that .gripe domains would be right up your alley. Did you register any of those?
No.
Nothing.
Nothing. I didn't even know it was out. By the time I can't keep up with it. So let's get back to .bar. I was ready for you with .bar.
All right, .bar. What do you think?
Well, I didn't get any because I think I have one of the better .com bar domains, and which is gaybar.com. So I'm happy for the .bar extension because I'm sure my gaybar.com isn't going to be hurt. But that said, gaybar.info is available right now, and gaybar.mobi is available right now. So, I mean, they've
From
only
you
been marketing
or
now
just in general?
5 or 10 years. I mean, you know, I didn't know that a lot of the domains ending in bar.com were popular. I don't think there really are that many. So, I mean, what I do like is at least it has 3 letters.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but
so you're saying that the public will like 3-letter extensions more because they're more used to them. .com, .net, .org, .biz, .edu, .mil, whatever.
Yeah, I think it's much more acceptable than the longer TLD that some of them are just kind of ridiculous after a while. You know, they're not going to sit there on every. I don't know.
.exchange. That's a lot of words. A lot of letters. I'm sorry. .engineering.
You know, it is. I mean.
But is that just old thinking? Like years from now, nobody's going to care that it's got 12 letters right at the dot.
They'll still care.
I don't know. Everyone talks about fads, and half of the people that talk about fads, they don't know the fads from the things that are staying forever. And you know, I just look. You know, I see everything a little bit different. I'm still. The jury is still out. I said, give me a few years to look at this, and 1,000 horses in the race. You're going to have 990 casualties, and you know, again, it gets down to the end user. Because if Joe's Bar doesn't give a shit, you understand? Joe's Bar says, you know what? I'm a fucking bar, man. I don't need a damn website. Okay, you got to understand. I serve beer and pizza and nuts. Do I really need a domain name? And the average bar on the corner in the neighborhoods, they're not interested. They already got whatever domain name they have or will ever have. And then it gets back to the 7 billion people on Earth. Everyone says, oh, but there's 6 billion people that still have to get online. I got news for you. Those 6 billion people couldn't put a mud pie together. 1 billion people couldn't put a mud pie together. They have no buying power. So that you can't equate the 1 billion to the 6 billion. It's not an equation in my book. One is very relevant, and one may be someday, but probably not in our lifetime.
Yeah. Adam, you look like you're busy multitasking. I think you multitask better than anybody I know. Did you just register some of these new TLDs as we were talking about them?
I did not. No.
All right.
No, I didn't register them yet. I'm not going to take. I'm certainly not going to register the. Although I appreciate Rick's tip, I'm certainly not going to go out and get the .mobi. The .info.
Why not? Come on.
I think that, like I said, the .info is more appealing.
.info is the future, from what I hear. All right, next up, our own Michael Berkens, still on the same topic. Our own. What did you say, Mike?
Did anybody watch that info auction that ended on Sea-Doo?
Yeah, you just posted about that. Lots of great .infos there, going for
nothing.
Nobody bidding.
No.
There's probably a good reason.
There's too many other TLD choices.
Yep.
All right, so our own Michael Berkens at thedomains.com posted an article on July 15th where he found that the biggest registrant of .bar domains so far is actually .bar. I looked up a few and found that the domain registrant was Domain Administrator in Mexico, which of course is where Punto is located. Mike, did they give investors and end users a chance to register .bar domain names before they went out and registered a majority of them, to your knowledge?
Well, I mean, certainly they had the sunrise period, and then they had the land rush period. And as I said, I had about 75 applications in land rush that wound up just going away one day when I guess they got all pulled to reserve. So I guess the answer to your question is no. So I mean, they could have they could have, as a registry, just reserved the domains. So they could, they could reserve 10,000 domains if they want. So I think people get confused about that, and it's confusing. So I don't blame people when they get confused, because sometimes I even get confused. So I mean, a registry can reserve as many names really as they want. If they actually want to turn them on and make them like active, where they would resolve, they have to register them. So some registries like Uniregistry and these guys, .bar and other registries have gone on and registered domains that are reserved, so they would be active. and either be used or be, advertised or marketed or just have a for sale page. So in that, the only difference is that when they register the names, it appears in the zone files, so it counts as a registration, and they have to pay ICANN the fee, and they have to pay their back-end provider their per domain fee, which they don't have to do if it's a reserved unregistered domain. So I mean, for a domainer, the difference is there's no difference. Basically, the name's not available. It's reserved by the registry. You're not getting it, and that's unless you pay some money.
So why would the registry want to register any of the domain names themselves? Why not just keep them on the reserve list until they're ready to sell them for a premium price?
Well, I mean, you'd have to ask them. I mean, Frank, the registry has registered, tens of thousands of domains in their own extension that they could have just reserved. I mean, I guess there's a certain advantage of having, domains that resolve to an actual website or a landing page versus going to a 404 page, and maybe they get more sales that way, but I'm not them, so I can't answer for them.
Yeah.
But it costs them money to do it. Of course, there's a minimum, like a $25,000 minimum fee to ICANN. So, they're going to pay that one way or the other, whether they register names or not, and the back-end provider deals or whatever deals they have. So I really can't speak to that either, but that's the decision they're making. But for the domainer, it don't matter. It's basically the name is not available for land rush or regular registration fee. It's a premium name. You have to go to the registrar and see what you can do with it.
Yeah. All right. Moving on from .bar. Next up, everyone claims that registries aren't doing enough to market their top-level domains, right? I think we can all agree to that. Well, Larry Fisher over at directnavigation.com stumbled upon what I think is a great marketing tactic implemented by .xyz, the registry for that top-level domain. Larry found out that if you add .com to any URL ending in .com, for example, michaelseiger.com, like many people tend to do if they paste it in and then type in .com, it will redirect to gen.xyz/success, and that landing page actually reads michaelseiger.xyz is available for registration, if it is. And it shows you the pricing at 3 registrars, and then it's got a short video promoting the .xyz extension. It's a pretty sweet marketing tactic. Larry wrote that he remembers analyzing that domain, .com.com, the traffic many years ago, and he was impressed by the volume. So I tried looking up who owns com.com, but of course it's under who has privacy, so I can't figure it out. Typing in com.com into a browser address bar redirects to gen.xyz. What do you guys think about this marketing tactic? Is it useful? Will a lot of the typo traffic end up converting into XYZ sales, you think? Rick, you're shaking your head.
I don't really know if they're going to be users that are going to want to buy domain names. They may be looking for specific products, and they're not very smart.
Right. To your point, Adam, they could be people looking for websites. Yeah.
Yeah, if they type com.com, they're not exactly, and we all make mistakes once in a while, but they're not going to be extremely intelligent users. It looks like it's probably a uniregistry ad since they're the lowest price on there. So I think it's probably, they're below by $6 almost. So I think it's a pretty good marketing move by XYZ and uniregistry. I don't know if they're going to get registrations. I hope they do. It's a really cool thing. I mean, I went to adamdicker.com.com, and I'm at adamdicker.xyz is available for registration, $8.88. So yeah. I think it's a market move that can't hurt. I'd say it's a smart marketing move. Whether it'll convert, I don't know.
I had gotten from a. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead, Mike. You've got this.
I had gotten from a reader who used Charter cable as their ISP, a similar sort of thing when if they typed in a domain that couldn't exist, like an incorrect queue, not like a domain that could exist but just wasn't resolving, and they got to a similar page as they described it. It sent me some screenshots. I chatted with some other Charter subscribers. I couldn't duplicate it, so I didn't write about it. But I think it goes back to, I think I've mentioned it here, and I certainly mentioned it to a lot of people in the ICANN community. When they've asked about, what do you think about XYZ before it launched, and I said, just don't bet against Daniel. He's a very, very smart guy. He's very creative. He's a great marketer. And if anybody else was doing it, I would say no, it's horrible. But he's going to find a way to make this thing, big. And how big, on what scale, and by what measure, we can argue about that a different day.
Yeah. Rick, I'm sorry, I've said your name a couple of times because I saw you shaking your head no at the beginning. You don't think that this marketing tactic is going to convert?
For a guy that's been dealing with targeted traffic since I started on the internet, a stopwatch is right twice a day. So out of 10,000 people, maybe you get someone that's going to pay attention. But I would think that there would be something. Look, if you get a lot of traffic and it doesn't make any money anyhow, you can always point it to somewhere and squeeze a few drops of lemonade out of it, maybe. But at the end of the day, he's getting more mileage out of us talking about it than any signups he's ever going to get from that page, in my opinion. And it's a slick page. It has nothing to do with that. It has to do with the traffic that's going there, which don't want to be there to begin with, and that's the most important part of it.
Paige, any thoughts?
Oh, I think I remember when Mike did his research, he reached out to me, Mike Berkens, a couple of times on this, and it just brought me back to the idea that there's a real battle for the browser bar among a lot of different entities. Your ISP, your search engine, some malware, wants to get a hold of that bar. A lot of people want to get a hold of that bar and redirect when you type in something that doesn't, reach something. And so I would expect that we'd only see more things like this where you type in something and people use it as an opportunity to maybe try to sell you something. And as long as it doesn't do any harm, I just like to see a TLD operator out there acting like it may not work and I better mark it. You know what I mean? Instead of just saying, well, if you show up and don't understand the rules and have a bunch of money and want to pay, we might give you a name if the system works. So yeah, hope it works.
Yeah. Well, I personally love guerrilla marketing tactics. I think this is a great example in the new age of guerrilla marketing, like getting people to look at it.
Here's where I part company, because if you're going to have a page that's going to trap a lot of different kinds of traffic, then you want to sell them something generic. So that's why you can send them to an adult site, because even if the guy isn't looking for tits and ass and he finds tits and ass, he's liable to be detoured.
Right.
So what are the chances of a guy looking, for something and ending up on an adult site, and he can get, end up with something, as opposed to a guy ending up on some, on a domain site? I mean, I don't know. I just think if it's an impulse item, and that ain't an impulse item. At the supermarket, you put stuff that a lot of common people could be interested in. You put gum, you put newspaper things, you put things that are common. So I don't think domain names are the common thing. And look, I've been doing it for years, pointing generic traffic to domain pages. And, look, every once in a while you get a blip, but that's what you get.
Yeah, well, if it was my mom typing in michaelsiger.com, because she probably would do that. No, she's not going to buy michaelsiger.xyz, but she might actually email me and say, hey, honey, your name is available, and then she wouldn't remember the extension. So who knows? I wish that the registration numbers of .xyz weren't so skewed by the free giveaway, and that we could actually see the results of Daniel and his team's guerrilla marketing. Because if they're doing this, they're probably doing a bunch of other cool stuff.
Listen, there are no results until end users use it and provide superior websites to the .com experience. So all these operators that are actually smothering their own extensions, because on one hand they don't want domainers, on the other hand they have no choice because no one else is going to buy the garbage to begin with other than domainers. Then they hold back all the good stuff that a legitimate operator could use. They're suffocating themselves. I don't get it, really. They all want to repeat the .com, whatever, or .co, but they don't want to use the same recipe, and they think it's going to come out the same. There's such a disconnect that every time I go down the path, it's like there's a canyon on the way to wherever we're going.
And Mike Seiger, I think you need to be there before the stats come out. I mean, if you think that you can wait for .ween or .exchange to come out and say, we just did 35,000 names, and then you're going to jump in and say, now that everyone else wants it, I want it, and there's still going to be good names available, then you're going to sit there and go, oh, crap, I didn't get it. So I don't know if you can necessarily time it. I think you have to, know what you want beforehand. And secondly, I think the first, and then I'll let Mike Berkens, I'm sorry to interrupt, but I think the first really successful new TLD is going to come out of nowhere. Kind of like when Facebook paid $13 billion for whatever they paid for in Ukraine that no one even knew about. It's going to be happening somewhere that real people are going to be using it to do real something, and then all of a sudden it's going to pop up that, wow, all these people are using it. It may not happen because someone posted or blogged. I think it's going to come that way. But anyway.
I mean, I'm going to go the opposite a little bit, and Daniel is not a client. XYZ Daniel Docology is coming up too. He's not a client to the right of the dot. He's not even advertising on the domains or ever has. So I have absolutely no interest, whatsoever in his success or failure. But I do have to give it to the guy. I mean, because XYZ, by all accounts, by 99% of people before anything launched, was going to be nothing and not good and horrible. And he's sitting, all things, there's obviously a lot of things to talk about, but he is sitting at number one at 312,000 registrations. And Network Solutions, by and by, looks like they've been frozen for about a week at the 232,000. I saw them as high, I think, as 87% of the registry a couple of weeks ago. Now they're down to 74%. So they have, if you deduct all the Network Solution names, they still are doing about 80,000 registrations, which puts them, in a, behind Club around, behind Berlin, which gave away a lot of names too, behind Club, which gave away no names, and that's about it. And which is still very, very impressive, I think. Yeah. For something that most of us didn't think was worth anything.
Who was reporting the .com numbers 20 years ago? It had nothing to do with the numbers. It had to do with people that have businesses using the domain name, putting it on commercials, putting it on billboards, putting it on their brochures, putting it in magazines, and we don't see any of that. I haven't seen one on anything yet. We're into it at least 6 or 7 months now. Not one anywhere, anything yet, which shows to me either no one has a lot of confidence in it, even if they get the URL, and there's nothing happening, and there's no end users.
Are you talking about all top level? All new GTLDs or just XYZ?
No, I'm talking about everybody. Listen, everyone keeps pointing to the numbers because that's all we have to point to, but I don't think they tell the whole story. I don't think they tell almost any of the story. What I want to hear is, you know what? There are 89 new people using .whatever this week that are end users that were not using it last week. There's no count on that, and that's the only number that really matters, and all this other number doesn't mean a thing.
Well, Kevin Murphy from Domain Insight did an article this week and posted, some of the most used new GTLDs. Yeah. So that was kind of an interesting story.
Yeah, that's part of his Domain Insight Pro program. Now he tracks how much usage is happening in the new TLDs. And I will say that I saw a video by .club highlighting some of their users, non-paid, well, it did have 50 Cent in there, but it had other non-paid users of .club domain names and highlighted their websites. So, they're starting to come out, to your point, Rick.
But wait a second. Again, that's only the first layer. So then let's say they do use it. Now the next obstacle is, will people get confused? Will people go there? Will it be effective and will it be useful? So we have no data on that yet, other than the previous data that we know about in history. So there's all these bridges that have there's so many obstacles that are going to be encountered, and some of them are going to know they're doing well, and some of them aren't even going to have a clue that they're losing all that money. They just aren't going to know. And I'm not saying everyone will, but there's just so many more things that still have to be revealed, and that's why it doesn't matter yet. And I kind of agree with Paige. I think something's going to come out of the blue, and that could have an impact. And whether it's just one dot whatever or whether it's an entire extension, I don't know how it's going to play out, if ever.
Yeah. I would still say we need to wait for the cities. I mean, we haven't had Berlin, obviously, was a major city. Let's wait for London and New York to launch. And let's wait for some of these, new GTLDs that had 5 or more applicants, 7, 8, 9, 10 applicants, including Google and Amazon, to get out there, which none of them have yet. The .app, the .books, the .music, the .web. I mean, the really good ones, theoretically, the ones that people apply for and they get settled by contention, which are very few, to get out. So I don't know.
That segues into my next question. Question in from a reader, David Oberting, wants to know if any of the Sherpas have heard anything about which registry is likely to win .web, the top-level domain, and when is that extension going to enter Sunrise? Any idea, Mike?
Well, who's going to win it? I mean, there's, just off the bat, I think, web.com, which is a public company, is in it. I think Google's in it. I think Amazon's in it. There's a lot. Donuts is in it. I mean, there's a lot of companies in it. So it hasn't. I'm not sure when it's scheduled to go to auction for. You would think it would go to a private auction. I don't think you'll see it this year, basically. So who would win it? I mean, that's just a wild guess. I mean, who's willing to pay the most for it? So a better question would be to ask, what will that domain sell for at auction? That's the question. And if it's an ICANN auction, by the way, it's totally public and transparent. So not only will we know the price that's paid by the winner, but we'll know what each bidder paid in each round of the auction. And that's, so it'll be very interesting to see, especially if it goes
That would be very cool.
Auction.
What are the chances that it actually goes to ICANN auction versus gets resolved privately beforehand? Slim to none?
I would, it doesn't make sense. Public companies really don't want that information out there in the public on the street. Not just because, because there will be other rounds, although it's hard to believe, and some of these companies have, like Google, maybe looking, at the next round and the round after, and they don't want maybe their bidding strategies revealed,
right? And
noted where they drop out of and where they're willing to go to. So it makes a lot of sense to go to a private auction, but there's none set for .web as I know right now.
All right.
I have some pre-registrations in .web from 1998, and it was actually hypothetically given to a guy in California before the last round, and that's one of the reasons they didn't give it out in the last round. And I still don't know inside the deep cauldrons of ICANN if there isn't a document floating around that says they can't give it to anyone else. So I think it's always going to have a special asterisk and should be an interesting story. I think you'll be able to write a book on it.
Give what away? I didn't follow.
.web.
So you're saying that somebody has already been... I didn't understand
Someone went to the board of ICANN
and
said, we'd like to have .web, and they said, we think we're going to give it to you. Go ahead and take pre-registrations.
Oh, but how's that even possible? Like, that's not even like how the process works. ICANN would never say that.
There was a process.
That's a different process.
This is before they had no process. This is before they had no process, and one person got in there and they said, sure, you're going to get it. Go ahead. And that's what got us into the domain business, actually. We pre-registered like 50 names, and then everything else we wanted was owned by this one guy in San Diego, and then we found out he was the brother-in-law of this other guy. And then everyone griped that this one guy got one, so that's when they went through having the bottom-up consensus development process to establish a process to give them out, and then this whole thing started. But web kind of has an interesting history that predates all this stuff. So.
Yeah. Well, back to an earlier point, Paige and Rick, where you said there's going to be some dark horse that comes out of the forest and takes off, and everybody's going to realize how big the new TLDs can be by the one that's successful. Will .web be the next .com? You know, it's descriptive, it's general, but it means something. It's 3 characters, which is very similar to what people are used to. It seems like it could be the one. What do you guys think?
It could be the one. It's listen, that's the odds-on favorite. It's like that's the Hillary Clinton right now. You know, it's the odds-on favorite, and it's had a history. I mean, and it's a natural. I mean, you know, it denotes something. It means something. Again, but it doesn't matter what we think. It only matters what the end user thinks. If he says, well, I already got my domain name, I don't need another one, well, it isn't going to be as great as people think it will be. So it really keeps coming back to the end user and the use. But that said, of the 1,000 that are coming out, that's going to end up being number 1.
Why'd you shake your head no, Paige?
I mean, I think it's like they're all shooting to take something away from .com. But if they all think that .com's still going to be big, and they're going to be worth 3/4 of .com, but somehow for them to be big, .com has to be worth less, but they'll still worth a percentage of what they're. In other words, they want .com to be big, so they can be worth 3/4 of it. But wait, are we number 2? So it could be a club of a lot of people that all want their website to say we're number 2. Or if someone spends a lot of money to really do a good job, it could be like the AFL that started. You had the NFL, you had the AFL, and the AFL had to start, and it had to prove to the NFL that it was just as good. The football was just as good, the crowds were just as good, we can play the employees just as good, and then they merged. And so then it would get accepted. But if it just keeps saying we're the second best, it's going to be like the USFL. You know what I mean? It's going to be good for a little while, and then it's going to flutter. And even though they're going to say the NFL, they're going to sue the NFL, they're still going to go out of business. So is it going to be the AFL or the USFL? And
I will strongly disagree with Paige. In a world of big pieces, big pies, there's nothing wrong with being second best. It's better to own a small piece of the pie than to have the whole pie and it's worthless. So I have been a strong believer in .web since the beginning. I think it's going to be a good ending. It's a good GTLD. It's short, it's easy, and people can tie it to the web easily. So I think it's going to be a strong play, and that's definitely by far going to be the one that I play the most with.
Save your money, guys. If you're an investor, save your money. Keep your powder dry, because when the real game starts, and really, that's the real game. It's like, I guess that's what's blowing me away, is why is everyone taking their money and really gambling, and meanwhile the one that really has the shot, and it's like they're going to be dry. Their wallets are going to be dry by the time it comes around, man.
Which one really has the shot? Are you saying .web? Save your money.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Look, if any one of them, of the 1,000 are going to get above anything, it's going to be .web. And I don't even think there's going to be a close second. Like I say, when .web comes out, they're going to do more registrations in one day than we've seen these 150 guys do in 6 months. Okay? And then people will start to understand numbers, because people aren't numbers guys. That's why they run around saying we're going to have 5 million and 7 million registrations. They're never going to have that in history, because they don't understand how much a million is. It's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So put them somewhere between. I mean, all registries are going to make money. We already figured that out. So
Not
they're
all.
going to do great.
Not all.
Most.
I think all will. They're going to do great. They're going to make money. But is it the next .com? That's what you asked, Mike. And I'm just saying, I mean, if they set their sights lower, they have a much better chance of being successful.
That's the quote of the day. Set your sights lower, you have a much better chance of being successful. Next up, Demand Media.
It has merit, because you know what? It's just like, look, if you keep going for all the best domains, they're all going to be registered. So sometimes it's better to go for the second and third tier domains, because no one's at those doors yet.
Right.
And so you can get whatever you want and you know the people who are going to get there, whether it's a day or a week or a month, they're going to get there. So it's like, you know what? Do you ask the very prettiest girl at the dance to dance when you know there's 300 other guys asking that girl to dance, or do you go to number 3 and no one's at number 3 and she says sure?
I don't think I like that analogy. I don't want the third best.
How many pretty girls are at the dance?
I don't think I want the third best one as my wife, so I think I'll go with the one I like the most.
All right, next up, Demand Media is set to spin off RightSide on August 1st. In this transaction, RightSide Group Limited will be separated from Demand Media in the form of a tax-free dividend. What that means is that immediately after this distribution is completed, RightSide will be an independent, publicly traded company on NASDAQ under the symbol NAME. Demand Media, as you know, trades on NASDAQ under the symbol DMD, and is currently at about $4.92 at the time of this taping. As Andrew Alleman over at DomainNameWire.com points out, RightSide will own and operate all of the domain name service businesses of Demand Media. In other words, they're going to own the registry services business that provides services to donuts right now, the domain registration business of Enom and Name.com, the parking business, half of Namejet.com, which is the auction marketplace that's half owned by Web.com, another publicly traded company, and a portfolio of about 300,000 domain names. Demand Media will operate as a pure play internet-based content and media company. Neither company will have ownership interest in each other. Now, as Mike Berkens over at thedomains.com reported, SeekingAlpha.com, a media website, which is much like Huffington Post. Lots of writers come and contribute there. Blasted them with an article entitled Demand Media, Titanic Will Hit the Iceberg, and also said both businesses are a melting ice cube, and the company needs to be taken private to implement a turnaround. Otherwise, expect a 15 to 20% decline in stocks. In addition, the article went on to talk about Google becoming a public registrar, and that with GoDaddy going public, it's going to be impossible for RightSide to compete. Adam, let's start with you. What do you think? Is this article just a buzz story looking to generate more clicks and likes and shares, or is there truth to this that RightSide has got an uphill battle?
I think you're missing the major point of the story, and that's what's going to happen to Barry Meyerson, because we love her. But other than that,
they spinning her off into a public company.
Yeah, it's my public service announcement. Anyway, It's going to be an uphill battle for anybody that wants to enter the space now, but I still think there's plenty of room for a company that wants to challenge GoDaddy and do the proper marketing to get out there. I mean, it's all about marketing right now, and people only really know about GoDaddy if they know about anybody because of the commercials. GoDaddy used to do their Super Bowl commercial. I know for like 10, 11 months after the Super Bowl commercial, they're still getting business from that commercial. So it's still about marketing, and there's still plenty of open space. Europe isn't really dominated by anybody right now. Sure, it has some registrars, but GoDaddy isn't as well known over there. There's lots of room in this space for somebody who's going to set up a good business plan and market it correctly. So they will have an uphill battle, as anybody would starting out in the business, but I think if they do it properly, they'll be just fine.
But GoDaddy is the king of marketing, and Google owns all the online marketing space. So does it even make sense, or is the pie going to be so big that, of course, there'll be opportunities for other companies?
I think the pie is eventually going to be so big that there'll be opportunities. Forget the companies. More and more businesses are growing like crazy. It's a pyramid, and we keep getting lower and lower in the pyramid where more businesses need to get online. And it doesn't matter what somebody's done before. It matters what they do from here on in to build up their marketing power. So I think there's room. I think it's up to the companies to build their marketing. But I think we haven't seen tenfold what we're going to see in the next 5 years of companies getting online and new businesses. And even kids that are now, 14 going to 19 going to be getting more involved in the internet. So we know traffic's going to increase, and so are the amount of companies getting online. So if it's done right, I think there's room for everybody.
Mike Berkens,
it goes back to that piece where there's a small piece of a big pie is still a nice piece of pie.
Right. Definitely. Hey, Mike Berkens, before I ask you for your opinion, I know you do consulting in the space for Right of the Dot. Are Demand Media or RightSide customers of yours, clients?
Not really clients. I mean, we work a little bit with Namejet. I mean, personally, I own shares of Demand Media, just personally, so I'll disclose that ahead of time. The Seeking Alpha story was interesting, but I think the author was pretty far off. I mean, in that, right side, once it spins off, is going to operate three different businesses, if you will. He only highlighted one of the three. He didn't even mention the other two. So it will be, of course, the domain registrar and having enum and name.com, but they're also a domain registry. They apply for 26 of their own GTLDs. They also, whatever, Paige before he yells at me, our partners, the Donuts, in a certain number of GTLDs that Donuts applied for. And
I won't yell at you, they will. Okay.
Well, they didn't yell at me yet, so not about that anyway. And they're also the back-end provider, which I think is a big money, is something that sort of gets lost a little bit. But, I mean, these back-end registries like VeriSign and Newstar, and Oz Registry and a bunch of other guys are getting paid per domain, just to operate the registry, just to make the system work, just to get your registration to go into the root. They get paid, somewhere between, stated rates $1 to $4 per domain, just for making the registry work. So, wow. Obviously, as a registry back-end provider, having Donuts as the client, which is the largest UGTLD registry, there's a lot of potential business there. So, what their deal is, I don't know. I don't think it's been disclosed. But, I think the Seeking Alpha guy, he didn't discuss those two businesses at all in his analysis. So, yeah. It's interesting that the demand is up almost 10% today. After the story was written and a couple days after the announcement was made. Personally, my opinion is I love the right side business. I hate the eHow content business. So, I'm planning on, grabbing the right side shares I'm given, probably selling the rest of the demand off after that, and then buying some more right side. So that's just personal. Don't take my advice. I usually lose money on stocks. So.
Yeah, right. Mike, I think Mike Berkens is right on. I think the writers have piled on demand for years to say they're one Google algorithm change away from losing their entire business. And they've been right. And so they've been right, and they've been right, and they've been right, and that gives them so much confidence to say they're right again. But the right side business, as Mike just said, is predictable, stable, cash flow, income with very little expense against it. I'm sure they'll be happy to get out from under as long as they can get out from under any shareholder suits or anything from all the stuff that Demand did, to have that company get out. And then as soon as they split out right side, then they're going to reverse split the shares of Demand. So they'll go from being worth like $3 to being worth $15, and they'll probably go back down to 11 or 12. But it'll be hard to tell unless you do the math whether they're up or down. Or I used to think that stock was at 4, and now it's at 10. So they must have done something better, But you can actually buy the right side spinoff under a when issued name W symbol, I think around the 24th. And so I just think if all the negative of Demand Media suppresses demand for the predictable cash flow of a registry, then it makes right-sided compelling, because there aren't many businesses that have very little cost and get, a lot of the revenue that a registrar has, people that have paid 5 or 6 years of registration fee, that money's sitting at the registrar. It just has to be booked at the beginning of the year. They already know it's there, they know it's in there, and very few businesses have that ability to just come into the year with $2 to $5 million or something of revenue, and just now, what they do with the cash, who knows? But they're going to look good for a while. So I think the author may be right on the one side of the business, and then they think they're going to be right because Google is also a competitor. But that Google announcement, Google's announced a lot of things over the years: going to Mars, going under the water. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. And I'm not saying that their registrar won't be successful, but they've announced a lot of things that they were going to take over and dominate something, and it hasn't always happened. So yeah. I'm not really ready to give them the benefit of the doubt on the registrar.
Fair enough point. Quick break from 3 sponsors of today's show. First, Are you tired of being upsold and cross-sold when you buy or renew a domain? Then try the newest registrar being built from the ground up with a beautiful interface, competitive pricing, and 24/7 support. Uniregistry.com will surprise and delight you. The right domain can change your life. Uniregistry.com. Second, investing in Chinese domains is crazy hard without expert native language advice. Now, as a service to the Western domainer community, TLD Registry offers ChineseLandRush.com. Using ChineseLandRush.com will help you invest in Chinese domains with confidence and without knowing a word of Chinese. Finally, MediaOptions is a boutique domain brokerage firm that gets results. They've specialized in helping companies acquire and sell high-value domain names since 2005, with a client list ranging from funded startups to Fortune 500 corporations. Visit MediaOptions.com to learn more. Next up, a reader question. Christopher Lumley wants to know, and Paige, I'm going to come to you first. Christopher wants to know, can .co.coms be used as geodomains since CO is the state abbreviation for Colorado? So, for example, Christopher owns 420.co.com, for example. Could that be used as marijuana business in Colorado? Other examples might be painters.co.com for painters in Colorado. So, Paige, you are the poster boy for .la. I'm surprised I don't see an LA behind you. LA, of course, being the CCTLD for Laos, which is being repurposed for Los Angeles. So I open the question to you. Can an individual investor like Christopher try and repurpose a domain name like 420, which is I think the chemical symbol for I don't know, whatever's in pot, be used for Colorado? You know, Mike, just joking. In Colorado. And can he be successful in doing so, do you think?
I think it's the time of day that everyone agrees to smoke.
See, Paige knows. Paige knows.
So he's right. Any name on the internet could be the source of a great website. So functionality purpose, there is no difference between any name on the internet having a website and being successful. And as the other guys have said, with co.com, you have your rights as a domain name holder given to you by a written agreement that you better read and understand, because if you ever try to resell it to somebody, you're going to commit to them potentially more than you can actually commit to them if the underlying asset ever gets yanked back or taken away. So from a functionality point of view, co.com isn't the same as a regular one. So then you say, is the attractiveness of it so great that I'm willing to overlook this discrepancy? And I would say that 420.co.com would be just as good as 420 with an other word and .com. So now 420, 420 today, let's 420.com. You'd have to compare that with the co.com, and you need so much demand for there to be there that there's so much demand that someone would come and buy what you have as opposed to being creative and buying something for the regular price. So for me, that would not be a reasonable speculation. That would be a hope speculation that I probably wouldn't take.
Adam, what would you rather build a marijuana website, a Colorado-based marijuana website on, 420co.com or 420.co.com? Does it matter? Are they equal?
No, I'll do it on 420.co just because it's not a subdomain, and I'd feel more comfortable that I wouldn't lose it should something happen to co.com. But I wouldn't be thrilled about building it either one. But if I had to pick, I'm definitely going with .co.
So you'd pick it 420.co because you could repurpose.
I wouldn't pick any of those, but I would if I had to.
You'd repurpose that for Colorado and somehow brand off of .co, the Colombian original domain name that's being used by a lot of startups nowadays.
Yeah, I would prefer the .co personally.
All right, we're going to run one more question from the audience. Albert just posted today on DomainSherpa, and I should mention, if you have a question that you'd like us to discuss on the DomainSherpa discussion, post it on a prior discussion show or any other show. I get notified of every single comment. If it's a comment you want asked, send it in so that other people can see it. Maybe somebody else will ask and provide some other insights. Albert posted today that he would like to know what the Sherpas think about the article on thedomains.com entitled, Is Is SEO on the verge of extinction? It's an article that was written by Andrew Edwards and published on ClickZ, and then Mike summarized it on The Domains. I'm going to start with you, Rick, because you have stated publicly in the past that you think SEO, you've got a very distinct view on SEO. Let me say it like that. Do you think that SEO is on the verge of extinction, finally?
I think it was extinct 10 years ago. I mean, it's to me, it's a bag of smoke business because 99% of people in SEO aren't qualified to do what they do. I mean, SEO is something that's good to do, make your website search engine friendly, okay? That's a good thing. But I will maintain forever that the keyword is relevance. And relevance.
I'll have to call you back.
What's that?
Mike was talking. No worries, he's got to mute
it. Go, Rick. You're on a roll, baby.
Do it, Rick.
I just think relevance. It's simple. It's
all about relevance.
You're going to rank high. If you're irrelevant, like e-house sites, really are, or mini sites are today, you're going to rank low, or you're not going to rank. And if you're popular, that's what makes your rank higher. So I don't think you can't fool the search engines for more than a few minutes. There's too many people trying to do it, and it really isn't very cost effective. You're better off having a good product, advertising legitimately, and doing your marketing homework instead of trying to fake out the search engines with stuff that you don't really have anyhow, and people are going to get pissed off at you because you faked them out.
Adam, I'm going to jump over to you as someone that runs a development and optimization and marketing company for online businesses. Is SEO on the verge of extinction? Do you agree with Rick that most people are just trying to game the system?
So I think what Rick was trying to say as king is that content is king, and if you have good quality content on your website, the rest of it is bullshit. Now, I would agree with that, but you have to still have your pages on your own site optimized so that
Absolutely.
Google can find them. So I would agree that all the linking in the past and all the other crap that people do is not as important as having good quality original content, having different page titles, having different tags on the page, so Google sees it all differently. You can't have all the same tags on all your pages. They're basically going to see it as one page with no differences, and you're only promoting one thing. So page titles have a lot to do with it. Page descriptions, but SEO is only important right now, heavily important for on-page SEO and on-site SEO, much more than it used to be for off-site SEO, which was buying links, having other sites linked to you. If you have good quality content and you've got a good domain name, the rest of it doesn't matter.
Paige, Mike, any final thoughts on SEO?
I think they said it best. What we used to call SEO, if you meant search engine fakeification or search engine gamification or search engine, my site stinks, but I'm going to get ranked #1 on Google, or I'm going to charge you 10 grand because your site stinks and I can get you #1 on Google. If that's how you defined SEO, then that may be over. But like Adam said, making sure that you're not losing something by not really optimizing your pages. In that sense, the real meaning, I guess, of SEO is dead. I guess it depends on how you defined it to begin with.
Mike, surely you have a strong SEO plan in place on developingoutdogs.net. Do you or do you not?
Again, that's something that the guy who's doing it is doing, so I don't know. I think Rick is, I kind of agree with Rick. I mean, SEO to a large extent was a gameplay. The domain name, still I think helps. I mean, despite what they talk about exact match domains, you go to a lot of, verticals or bang on, Miami condos, you're going to see most of the results on the first page still have the word, have the URL with, have the words Miami condos on it. So, of course, there's the gajillion new domains, the gajillion new possibilities. So I think the game playing, again, at the end of the day, isn't going to win it. It's going to be the content. And I really have nothing to add. I think, Adam and Paige and Rick probably know a lot more about SEO than I do. Only comment I really have is, Paige, like, your domain outlet doesn't look like it's spelled right behind you. I like losing.
And that's bad SEO. But the thing we're missing is that out of all of us, Michael spends most of his time on SEO domains and doing research. So he would also be a good person to hear from on this. So let's hear what you think, Mike.
Well, I've been doing SEO since the late 90s when I first became a consultant for the mining company, which later became About.com, which later led to the whole eHow and those types of companies getting out there. I led an initiative across all of GE back in 2000, 2001 for search engine optimization under Gary Reiner's corporate initiatives group. I believe that SEO is not going away. I think there are snake oil salesmen in every single industry, just like there are in the domain name industry. You have a bunch of people that are selling domain names that don't have any value. It doesn't mean that the whole industry is going to go away because of a few bad examples.
Wait a second.
It's not going to go.
You're selling a service, though, with SEO, aren't you?
You are selling a service.
Isn't that the whole point? You're selling a service for SEO, and if 90% of the people aren't qualified to sell that service, and there's no
show me your data. I would say 90% of the domain name salespeople in the world aren't worthy of becoming of selling them. Aren't worthy of holding investors. Everybody's got their own opinion.
Well,
I don't know if 90% is a correct data point.
Well, when you get spammed all day and all night for 20 years by SEO people, what would you call that? If they were so good, they'd be listed in Google #1. I'm the best SEO guy in the world because I'm #1 in Google.
Can't you say that that exact same statement about domain name investors? They're spamming people left and right.
I think it depends, you guys. I think it depends on how much the client knows. I mean, if a guy walks in with his fly down and you say, pull your fly up, you're a fashion expert. If the guy you're talking to doesn't know that his fly's down. So, I mean, if someone set up a website and did some really stupid stuff and you knew a couple of things, to that guy, you're an expert. Now, that doesn't mean you can go consult with GE, but, I mean, I think a lot of people just felt, if I know more than the next guy, I'm an SEO expert. And to some extent, they were more expert than whoever gave them the money.
And it's the exact same situation in the domain name industry. Yes, there are bag eggs in the basket. I would say this. This is a well-known ploy by those against SEO to get buzz, to get shares on social media, to get traffic to their article. I've seen it hundreds of times over the past decade. Every single year, tens of people say, hundreds of people probably say, this SEO is dead this year. And it never dies. It never dies.
I would say what Paige said is correct, that everyone that knows even a little bit more than you is considered an expert. But the main thing is what Rick said. If you're going to be an SEO expert and your site for SEO isn't on page 1, nobody's going to believe you.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
I mean,
and the problem is that people don't know to do that search. You know, if you're looking for some way to get to the top of the search engines and you find a search engine optimization expert or a company that can help you, ask them what they're optimizing their website for. Go to Google and Bing, type in that search word phrase, see if it makes any sense. That's the best way to tell, you know, who's really knows what they're talking about and who doesn't. I had a customer call us up the other day that wanted a website developed for Bainbridge Island. I said, how did you find us? And they said, well, I know I need to do SEO, so I typed in Bainbridge Island SEO, and you were the #1 result. I said, of course. Anybody else that you talk to doesn't know search engine optimization if they're not at the #1 spot for the city that you're trying to optimize for.
And it was probably an easier sale because once you've got that position, it's hard for them to argue with you.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want, go ahead and call the guy on page 10, but he's not going to get you #1 like I did for my own company.
Right. Exactly.
And to Rick's point, you know, if you look at...
Hey, Paige, hold on 1 second. I'll come to you. Mike, go ahead.
Yeah, just to Rick's point about, you know, the amount of emails and spam and theoretical scammers out there. You know, if you go to SEO.expert, I mean, the domain is held under privacy. So, you know, again, there's nothing wrong with privacy, but really, if you are the SEO expert, you know, why would you want your identity to be hidden? I mean, why wouldn't you want to be, like, right there in your face? This is me. I'm the guy. It's my company. I'm the SEO.expert, and there I am. But, you know, it's sort of, again, it sort of leads to this notion that there's a lot of scamming and money being spent for
There's
stuff
a lot
that's
of
not going to
scamming.
be delivered.
There's a lot of scamming, just like there is a lot of scamming in the financial services industry with all those spam emails that go around, just like there is in the domain name industry with all those emails that go around to say, hey, I'm going to sell you this domain name that's not even registered, but I'm not going to tell you that it's not registered. I'm just saying there's a lot of scamming, period.
You can't always use that as a defense because of other people's bad behavior. If you're in an industry where 9 out of 10 people are scammers, or maybe more, I mean, look, if I was a professional SEO guy, I sure would want to belong to a worldwide or a national organization that said, hey, this guy has credentials, this guy actually knows what he's doing, this guy doesn't scam you, he will do what he says he will do. That's all I'm saying is there seems to be a huge credibility gap, and the SEO guys they've just always closed their eyes to the credibility gap and say, well, there is a credibility gap and we should fix it.
There's a reason for that. It's hard for them to say they'll get you number one when they don't know for sure themselves if they can actually do that. That's why there's a credibility gap. I mean, they should say they'll get you page 1, page 2. That's about it.
And that's fine. And that's fine. But when you end up on page 10 or you never end up on page anything, that's where the problem is, because you paid for a service that you didn't get. And even if you buy a crummy goddamn domain name, Michael, you got the domain name. You actually got what you paid for.
Right.
It may be a bozo, but you got it. Where the SEO guy, basically a lot of them, I'm not saying you, the ones that we're referring to, sell you a bag of smoke. They do nothing for their money, and they get paid. And that's the point.
Good point. There is an organization for the search engine industry. It's called SEMPO, SEMPO.org. If your provider's not in there, I would question that. Also, I run SEOconsultant.com. It's like a domaining.com resource for the industry. Only people that I know and trust are in that feed. So if you're looking for SEO help, either Adam Dicker's your guy, or go over to SEO Consultant, look at those feeds, read somebody. If you like somebody on there, great chance that they are going to be highly reputable, because I personally review all the feeds that go in there. All right, we are over time. Paige, last point.
When they make the wolf of SEO, I want Justin Timberlake to play Mike Steiger. So, okay, there we go.
I think he wants Adam Levine.
All right, 30 seconds to promote anything you want. Adam, let's start on the left with you. What's going on?
Just the same thing as I mentioned yesterday.
Yeah, but yesterday doesn't come out till Monday, and this one comes out Thursday.
All right, so Monday, launching DNF College Semester 3. Going to be a video series. Get on. All you need is the Inform membership to enjoy it. It'll be good. And then I'm also launching a mentoring series also on Monday. So it's going to be a busy Monday.
Awesome. How do they get into the mentoring series? So I'm going to join up for DNF College. Why not? I'm a DN Forum member. Where do I go? Do I go to dnfcollege.com to join?
Yeah, you can go to dnfcollege.com, hit join, and then you'll just fill out a quick form. But if you already were enrolled in semester 1 and 2, you're automatically enrolled in semester 3.
Sweet. Now, how do I find out about the mentoring?
The mentoring will be on adamdicker.com and be posted Monday.
All right, cool. Michael Berkens, anything you want to promote?
I'll just give my extra time to Adam. He seems to have a lot. So.
Hey, congrats on your recent sale. I saw somebody posted a $18,000 sale today.
Yeah, I've had a few sales I posted in the last few days, so it's we've got some steady flow.
At mostwanteddomains.com.
And also, yeah, if you go check out Facebook, I think it's MWD Domains. You can follow the sales. We list them unless they're not reportable. So we try to keep up. I know I do get behind. I do sort of forget for a month, and then I'll post a whole bunch, and people are like, oh, God, you sold so many names this week. so in a way, it's a little misleading, but eventually we do catch up, and we've had a few this week.
All right, I see I'm connected to you, but I need to go connect with MWD, Most Wanted Domains, so I can see what the sales are. I haven't been seeing those.
Right. And I've got a couple of deadbeat buyers that we may wind up having a nice post about on Monday.
All right, so deadbeat buyers. If you're one of them, look out.
Yeah. I hate that.
Paige Howe, what's going on? How do you spell domain outlet behind you? Is it correct?
Well, we got a new thing to promote this week.
What?
We started domaintipsheet.com, and no one wants to buy domains from domain outlets, so we're going to keep them all. but we'll send you 100 available names for reg fee, and we ask for a $10 honor fee. So it's an honor fee based system. We send out about 100 names a day that we think are worth registering. We think they're good names. From doing the review, we think they're a lot better than what some people are registering out there. And you go register them wherever you want, and it's DomainTipSheet.com. You can sign up and get the list for free every day, and that's what we're doing, DomainTipSheet.com. It's about 4 people that are going in to all put together and come up with the names. And
who are the other people?
What's that?
Who are the other people that you're working with?
I'll tell you about them later. So they're not on the show.
All right, I just went to DomainTipSheet.com. I just signed up.
Me too.
So tomorrow I'll start getting my tips.
Huh?
Yeah, so we did about 100 names the first day, and 25 got taken. So we had about 25% of the list get taken. So
all right. So do I need to pay you the $10 fee just for signing up, or if I buy one, I pay you the $10 fee?
Every time you get a name, it's $10.
Ah, I see.
Every time you get a name, it's $10, and then we send you some special names if you do get a name. So anyway, it's called Trust Marketing. Honor marketing is kind of a new thing. It's kind of like going to a restaurant and saying, go ahead and have your dinner and then pay us what you think it's worth on the way out. Yeah. So it's trust marketing, and we'll give it a try.
Yeah, why not?
I'm up in the mountains, by the way, Paige. I just have to bring it up. There was a little fruit stand that was up here in North Carolina a few years ago that operated in the same way. They had, produce out on the stand. There was nobody there. They had a little jar, like, pay honor system kind of thing. Yeah. That bitch was out of business in 3 months. I'm sorry.
Well, if I'm out of business in 3 months, I'll come up with a new idea, but we'll run with this one for a while.
All right. Sounds good.
And where is that fruit stand, by the way?
It's gone. It's long gone. It's gone. It's vacant. There's like a cemetery, I think.
Hold on. I found one of the reviewers. Hold on. There you go.
All right, Rick Schwartz, anything you want to promote?
Yes, I'm going to promote Freddie von Schnauzer to a Sherpa.
Freddie!
Oh, he's excited. He's going to be a Sherpa.
Unless he's got some input. I'm not sure that Freddie... Can you make him bark on command?
No, but if you send him $25, he'll get your SEO really good on your website.
Send in $25 to Freddie. Freddie at PayPal.com.
He's a really good SEO dog.
Michael, you can tell that the Sherpas aren't promoting much, so we actually like doing this show.
All
right, Freddie von Schnauzer, $25 to get you an autographed picture of him.
And he'll take your website and put it through the SEO engine, right?
His new company is going to be SEO, going to the dogs.
Can we just put up like a PayPal banner for each of us if people want to donate?
Yeah.
Sort of on the honor system.
It's all on the honor system.
But we just need a little tip jar. Can we have a tip jar that we can put on?
Like somebody can make it rain if they want to make it rain.
The tip jar can go to cancer as well.
Excellent.
Yeah, absolutely. That would be good.
You know what? That's a pretty cool idea. Yeah. Listen, that's a pretty cool idea. Put a little tip jar on there. Let's figure out a charity to send it to, and people that get a benefit every week, they can put $1 or $2 in there if they feel like it. Maybe a cool thing to do.
Good idea. My mom died of lung cancer. I'm for cancer.
Okay, same with me. Lung cancer works for me.
All right, I appreciate. It seems like everybody in the world is affected by either a family member or a friend that has cancer, that suffered with cancer. So that's why DomainSherpa has made the Fred Hutchinson Cancer Research Center to find a cure for cancer our charity of choice. It's right here in Seattle. I go across the water and I can walk in and see the work that they're doing. It's a fantastic organization.
You must be.
Let's have that tip jar. Let's tell them we have a tip jar for them in the next show and start taking tips. And come on, audience, you don't have to comment, but you sure as hell can tip the cancer people, right?
Yeah.
And Michael, you're probably a welcome guest over there now with all these donations you're getting.
Well, we have, as a team, you and Paige and Drew Rosener, we've raised a few $1,000s for cancer research because people need to submit at least $150 donation to the Fred Hutchinson and submit their receipt along with their portfolio. And we've had some very generous contributions. A gentleman just submitted last week $600 to Fred Hutch. Nice. And I think he might have said, I don't have that much money for domain name investing. I'd love the Sherpas to review my portfolio, but I'm going to spend even more on Fred Hutch because I've lost somebody to cancer. So it's
Really nice.
Let's do it up.
We got to give him some bonus time for that.
We should. Yeah. So thank you guys. I'll figure out how to get Fred Hutch on there.
Do any of us own tipjoy.com?
No.
Who owns it?
No, but I don't know.
But a link will work also. But now I want to know who owns it because that's what all I do is figure out who owns domain names.
Oh, it's a beautiful looking site. I think one of us can buy it for $5.
Is there a .jar coming out? We can
David Nicol unknown.
Like it's from the 1995 design through a front page. It's stunning.
Yeah. All right, David Nicol in Kansas City, Missouri. If you're watching, we may need to borrow your tip jar.
Michael, look at the site. You got to see it. It's Why does Paige have a split personality?
Oh yeah, that is weird.
Whoa.
Freaky. Paige, you're on the screen twice. Do you see it?
Hey guys, I haven't been in today. Sorry I'm late. I just got here. Wait, did I say anything today? Did I do anything?
That is weird.
That's very civil of you. Very civil.
All right. We're out of here. Adam Dicker, Michael Berkens, Rick Schwartz, Paige Howe. Thanks for coming on Domain Sherpa Discussion, sharing your insights and expertise as always, and thanks for continuing to be Domain Sherpas for others. Thank you all for watching. We'll see you next time.